and we are just a minute and 7 seconds away from Moses Lake STOL taking off soon here at the Moses Lake Airshow.
That's right. We're about to experience some awesome STOL action in about 50 seconds. It's the fourth stop of the 2025 National STOL Circuit as we return to the volcanic ash in the shadow of Mount St. Helens. Welcome to Moses Lake, Washington, where our pilots will follow up a spectacular lineup of airshow performers from all over the world, showcasing their stick and rudder skills for an amassing crowd. Get ready for National STOL at the Moses Lake Airshow. Many new competitors from Oregon Trail STOL will continue to put precious points on the board, including Ryan Melendez, DJ Holman, Rick Holman, and Jeff Vallon. Veteran competitor Dan Reynolds is sitting poised to break a couple of world records, and Hal Stockman is looking to give him a stiff competition by way of canards. Local brothers John and Mike Counsell promise to put on another show in their beautiful STOL machines. And for the first time in STOL competition sports on the big stage, use of an artificial turf runway might give competitors an unexpected advantage for short landings. Congratulations, you've made it to Washington. The winds are looking promising for some incredible unlimited class runs. The line is painted, helmets are being donned, we're cleared for takeoff. National STOL at the Moses Lake Airshow 2025 begins now.
And what's up, Av Geeks and STOL Freaks? My name is Ryan Dabrowski. It's time to kick off Moses Lake STOL with
Cam Walton.
We're getting ready for some STOL action right now here at the Moses Lake Airshow. Cam and I have had a great day. We've been up on the roof of the broadcast trailer broadcasting, announcing the whole full-scale crazy aerobatic act airshow. Actually, in a few minutes, we're going to have one of those pilots pop by into the booth and talk about. We're going to figure out a way to relate airshow performing to STOL competing. But folks, if you're just joining us, you've been waiting patiently all day. Wow. All day.
Do it for Dale.
Doing it for Dale. All day, all around the world. We are so happy to have you here. It is a great day for flying here at Moses Lake. And we've got a couple little things we got to do real quick because we are part of an air show. Look at that beautiful crowd right there, folks. Crowd, give us a cheer, give us a wave to everyone worldwide. There's probably someone from the UK, people from Zimbabwe. I don't know. They tune in from all over the place. Hey, if you're in the crowd here in Moses Lake, if you've got RC ticket 3879 for the RC raffle, 3879 or 3795, head over to the RC tent. Again, that's 3879 and 3795. If you're at home watching this in Berwick-upon Tweed, like we had yesterday, sorry there's no free RC aircraft for you, but you can still make that happen. Right now, we're operating out of Mike Whiskey Hotel. It is Moses Lake International Airport thing, Grant County Airport here. It's a huge airport. It's got the 17th longest runway in the United States.
13,500 feet. Actually, I was corrected. 13,504 feet.
Oh, the extra 4 feet do matter. We are not going to use any inch of that runway, though, because we have an exciting one for you right there. look at the weather. Winds 11, gusting 17 from 210, and you saw just a glimpse of it on screen there. We have a first time ever thing cam. We're operating on artificial turf.
Yeah, we got turf that we went out and inspected. Yesterday we actually had practice on it. All the pilots fell in love with it. It has excellent braking action, so when they're applying the brakes, it's full on. There's no differential braking or any sliding or anything like that. They were saying that they love the way that the turf feels, so hopefully this is not the last time we have a competition on turf. Hopefully it's the beginning of many on artificial turf.
We'll talk more about that turf runway as we get ready and start competing out. You can see some of the first class competitors booting up their engines. That's what the millennials and Gen Z pros say. Let me boot up my engine. They're getting it cranking, getting it turning. The crowd has been here all day here at the Moses Lake Air Show, and we've been talking all day. So it's a good thing that we have our legendary aviation coffee in the trailer to caffeinate us, our flying eyes, sunglasses to protect us from the sun. Let's learn about that first class cam, the touring class.
Jeff Abrams from Ocala, Florida. Fly an aircraft called Piperzilla, 1965 Cherokee 180. Just enjoy it. It's a great experience, something different to do with the airplane versus just fly around the traffic pattern or go to nearby restaurants or whatever in the airplane, and gets me far away from home.
My name's Warren Grobelar. I'm from Naples, Florida, and I fly a 1955 Cessna 180. Action!
It's a 1990 PZL 10480. It's a Wilga. It was designed as a stall airplane, but you know it had a lot of different uses. They dropped parachuters, and they've seen them with floats on them, and I think they tried to put rockets on them at one point. They're a pretty useful airplane. They didn't take off real big over here in the United States, but you know, it's too bad because they're a pretty neat airplane.
Hello, I'm Brandon Korn. I'm flying the Cessna 205 out of Hearne, Texas, and I'm in the heavy touring class. There's some tough competition out here.
I got no expectations of winning anything here. Just trying to have some fun and kind of get my feet wet.
Well, it felt good. It's definitely a lot different flying in this high altitude, but I like it. You got to really nurse it off the runway, though. Got some competition out here. Aaron over there, flying all over the country. So we're having lots of fun.
Takeoff and landing competitions are simple. We have the pilots here competing in separate classes to get the lowest score possible. As you see behind me, we have the start-finish line, so let's start with the takeoff.
This runway is marked with a start-finish line, and as a competitor parks their main gear on the line, they apply power and position their aircraft to get off the ground as soon as possible. Once their main gear leaves the ground, a line judge will mark their takeoff score using the measuring line along the side. This score will be added to the pilot's landing score on this heat. The landing is in two parts. It's either over the line and counted, or if the pilot's main gear touches down before the line, or even touches the line, this heat score is scratched and results on a landing disqualification, and the pilot will have to rely on another takeoff and landing score to get them on the podium. A quick look at our aircraft shows we have two types of landing gear: tricycle and tail draggers. On the tail dragger aircraft, the score is marked from the two main wheels toward the front of the airplane. And for tricycle landing gear, the score is marked by the two main gear in the rear of the aircraft. It's a fierce competition out here, but at the end of the day, it's all about building better and safer pilots in the skies.
It's a great day for STOL competitions. Let's get it started.
And we're back with the touring class lineup. We'll announce what pilots we have running touring class in just a moment. Here we go. Race number 145, Andrew Patry in the 1959 Cessna 182B from Ellensburg, Washington. Number 307, John Douglas in the 1964 Cessna 182 from Pinedale, Wyoming. Number 345, Derek Holman in the 91 Maule MX-7-180. And his brother, right? Son.
His dad.
His dad. Sorry. His dad, number 45, Rick Holman, in the same aircraft. They're going to exchange their aircraft. And then we're going to read the Cub class. We're going to have race number 785, Mike Counsell in the 1946 Piper PA-12.
The Chubb Cub.
The Chubb Cub from Moses Lake, Washington. Hometown hero, number 222, Ryan Melendez in the 1954 Super Cub PA-18, affectionately known as Goldie.
So we're going to run 2 classes to begin today, touring and Cub class, and then a little bit more touring will be competing in the next heat with the Backcountry Class. Again, folks, if you're joining us online, we are at Mike Whiskey Hotel on your section. We're operating on a little artificial turf runway, runway 22. We'll talk more about it today. It's pretty wild, the amount of work that went into putting that in there for us. Folks in the crowd and online, go to nationalstol.com/vote. That's nationalstol.com/vote to vote for your favorite pilot. Voting closes at the end of competition today. Here's the bummer, though. It's only for the National STOL pilots. You can't vote for this guy sitting with us right now in the booth as we get ready to amp things up. We got Kyle Fowler. I'm going to make sure your mic's on there, friend. But Kyle Fowler from Go Easy Aerobatics is here in the booth with us.
Hey, how are you guys doing today?
Thanks for
I'm
coming
doing
out.
well.
Thank you for having me on the show.
You did a different kind of flying today, and I want to dig into that in a second, but action is heating up already. We got Ryan Melendez taxing up, folks. Ryan Melendez, where are we at here? First up, San Diego, California brings us race number 222. It's a 1954 Piper Super Cub flown by Ryan Melendez.
Ryan calls himself a professional full-time airport mom and a part-time airline pilot. Began his aviation journey nearly 10 years ago at the age of 17.
You'll watch that. You'll see that precision in his flying as he comes in. Next up, from Moses Lake, Washington, give it up for race number 783, one of your hometown pilots, Mike Counsell in the Piper PA-12.
The Chubb Cub. Chubb Cub's powered by a 180 horsepower 0360 engine and equipped with 31-inch Alaskan bush wheels.
Next up, race number 345. It's a 1991 Maule MXT-7. Give it up for Derek DJ Holman.
Derek goes by DJ, 19 years old with around 100 hours of flight time, is a college student at Southern Utah University with the goals of ending up in the airlines.
From Pinedale, Wyoming, race number 307, a 1964 Cessna 182. Give it up for John Douglas.
John and his lovely wife, Angela, host the Rocky Mountain STOL competition later on this year that we've been to a couple of times before. He is a Pinedale, Wyoming native with an amazing and supportive wife.
From Ellensburg, Washington, it's race number 145, a 1959 Cessna 182B. Give it up for Andrew Patry.
Andrew is married to Catherine and proud dad to Sarah and Joseph. He owns and operated a franchise small business for 11 years and loves spending time with his family and friends, flying and exploring new places.
So that's going to be the 5 competitors kicking off National STOL here at Moses Lake. We're in the touring class. We got some Cub airplanes mixed in. The touring class, Kyle, are the certificated heavies. They're a bit bigger than what you're flying during the Airshow.
Yeah, probably a little bit bigger than what I'm flying, but I'm really excited. Believe it or not, this is the first time I've ever watched a STOL competition.
Wow, and you got the best seat in the house.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Between two guys that have been cooking in the sun all day on the announcer stand.
That's all right. I've been cooking in the sun in my flight suit, so it's nice here in the booth.
So what you're going to see, Kyle, is you're going to see, like, here's Andrew Patry, right, on the line. He's taxiing up to the line judge there, making sure he's all squared away. He's going to give it full throttle. As if on cue, here goes Andrew Patry. He's going to pull back on the yoke.
And deploy flaps.
Whoa, there we go.
There
okay,
we go.
Good first showing for National STOL. Now, folks, you're going to see the judges run up to that line. Where did the main wheels of that airplane depart the ground? We're going to record that score, keep it in our back pocket for later. Here comes John Douglas now in a 182 as well.
Andrew Patry with 148 feet on that takeoff. John Douglas going to bring up power and release the brakes afterwards.
By the way, John Douglas was the barometer for how the artificial turf was going to go. I was talking to Hal Stockman this morning. He's like, I just wanted to see if John could land on it, and if he could, I knew it'd be fine. Here's John Douglas giving it the full bean treatment. Yank it back, almost touching the tail, off in ground effect. Now he's going to retract those flaps. The flaps, folks, are the inboard control surface there. They provide a little more lift and, well, unfortunately, a little more drag as well, but they help STOL pilots get off the ground in this phase of flight. Here's Derek Holman.
Derek Holman in the Maule with the nose wheel on it. You might see a co-pilot in there with him as he pulls back on the stick, deploys flaps. We'll see where his numbers end up. It's just a little over 100 feet.
So, Kyle, you are taking off a bit longer than this. Any techniques, though, any advice you have for these pilots as they're taking off, trying to take off as short as possible?
Yeah, so I do take off a lot longer. My airplane has sticky wheels. You'll notice that some of them, they dump their flaps right before they rotate. And what that does, to my knowledge, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, you're a lot more familiar with this, is reduce the drag until you need the lift, dump the flaps to get as much lift, and pop it off the ground.
100% right.
100%
like you've been
right.
Studying. You've been watching the broadcast.
He might be a pilot.
He might know what he's talking
maybe.
about.
I have a hard time keeping it upright.
Well, that's a joke. You spend, how much of your routine do you spend upside down?
A fair amount of it. A fair amount.
Here's Ryan Melendez now off really short in that Super Cub. Somewhere around 75 feet. Let's go to the scores now as the first aircraft are going to be coming around the pattern very quickly. Andrew Patry, his takeoff was 148. John Douglas in the other 182, 150.
Ooh, real close.
Derek Holman, though, out in front with a takeoff of 111 feet. And let's go over and check the Cub class scores as well. Mike Counsell with a takeoff of 172 in that PA-12. We call it the Chub Cub because it's like you gave the Piper Cub, the classic Super Cub, just a little too much ice cream.
Yep.
Whoa,
Woo!
Patry
Okay.
dropping it in.
Locking up those tires.
You could hear something, though. Something didn't quite work for him. So this is something that's kind of cool, Kyle, is they have some competitors are able to get STCs for reversible pitch propellers, and they'll try to go into beta thrust after they touch down. Beta thrust is reverse thrust, folks. Didn't quite work for Andrew, though. You could hear him trying to goose it up, and it wasn't engaging.
I could hear him revving it up there, and I was wondering, why is he trying to thrust up after he's trying to make a short landing?
Exactly, yeah. It doesn't always work. It's not the silver bullet. The workload, the pilot workload is really high in the cockpit for them. Ryan Melendez, by the way, with a 75-foot takeoff. Here comes John Douglas now holding it out and landing a little too short. So this is the second part of the show, right? They come in and they land. They cannot touch that white line at all. If you land before it, the whole run is DQ'd. If you touch it at all, even a blade of grass, or in this case, a blade of plastic, touches it, you're disqualified for that round. Now, low and to the right, coming in the Maule, Derek Holman.
Good over the line. Oh, wait a minute. The line
Very
judge.
nice.
The line judge doesn't know what happened. Let's see what.
That I thought was nice as well. Let's check the replay. Here we go. Frame by frame in the booth. It's close.
Oh, it's so close.
I think that was good.
I want to call it good. Call stands.
Is good. Okay, so good one for Derek Holman.
Doesn't get much more perfect than that.
No, you can't.
Jeez,
yeah, we
it's
always
so
equate it. I know, Kyle, have you done much backcountry flying in your time?
I've got probably 150 hours in a Super Cub.
Okay. So, like, imagine you're taking that Super Cub out. Maybe you're doing what Mike Counsell's doing right now coming in. You're going to land on a sandbar.
Drag it in and then drop it. Oh.
Getting those wheels locked up.
Yeah.
Heavy on the brakes for Mike Counsell there. Short wing Piper. Well, no. Is that classified as a short wing Piper, the PA-12? If it were like,
I wouldn't know.
If it's a pacer or a tri-pacer
or a clipper,
you got way less lift on those wings, right? So you're always coming in a little hotter.
I think someone in the chat can correct us if they know about the PA-12.
And as promised, Ray Powell in the chat. Good day from Berwick upon Tweed, UK. 23:18 at the moment, and there's a thunderstorm. I love that you stay up for these, Ray. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Now, in the Cub class, right, we're still in the Cub class, Ryan Melendez. It's going to be a battle between him and Mike Counsell. 75-foot takeoff is putting him in really good position between the two of them.
And he's good over the line. He gave up about 50 or so feet. We're going to get him stopped around just sub 150 is what it looks like the judges are conferring about.
So they're going to taxi back and reset for another run. We're simulcasting right now on live Airshow TV, and you know a little bit more about that side of the world, Kyle. So for folks who don't know, maybe they're joining us from the UK right now, and they didn't get to see the Airshow here in Moses Lake. Tell us a little bit about the kind of show you put on.
Yeah, so I fly a Long Easy. Weird little airplane. I mean, everybody looks at them. Even pilots look at a Long Easy, and they're kind of confused as to what they're looking at. Basically, the aircraft is just built backwards. Engines in the back, tails in the front, and it's just a little different. But it's not designed for aerobatics, believe it or not. But I've always said anything will do a loop and a roll if you try hard enough, and I just have to try very, very hard to make it do what it does.
Well, you make it look easy out there. It's very graceful, but still like powerful and fast. The Long Easy has a really high top speed range, and we can see you ringing it out low over the sagebrush today. It was really cool. So they're taxiing back right now, getting ready for the next run. Let's check the scores. Right now, Ryan Melendez in the lead over Mike Counsell in the Cub class, 223 to 420. So Mike Counsell's got a little bit of work to do to catch up to him. Over in the touring class, Rick Holman, of course, can't compete in the same plane as his son. So we're going to have to see how this all ends out. It's kind of anyone's game after the next
not the same
class.
plane at the same time.
He can't. Well, yeah, sorry, he can't compete in the same plane at the same time. We'll get it figured out. Okay, so Derek Holman, though, holding the line right now in first place with a combined score of 236 feet. Andrew Patry, 367. John Douglas with that scratch, not yet on the board, and of course Rick Holman will compete in the next heat. Here's Andrew Patry now, full throttle. No, okay, all right. So Andrew Patry doesn't always come out to play in the circuit, but when he does, that's a big airplane.
Yeah,
and that's an impressive takeoff for an aircraft like that.
it's huge and heavy, right?
And he has no problem slamming that tail on the ground because he's got a nice little advantage. He's got a little skid back there that can take a little bit of the brunt of the impact of that. And it's also got a little replaceable area so that if he drags along the ground, he can replace that. So a little bit of an advantage.
And the reverse pitch, which we will hopefully see at the end of this run when he comes in for landing. Here's John Douglas now.
Perfect execution of short field operations. He pulled, the plane wanted to jump into the air. He might have pulled a hair too late, even.
Yeah, if the plane comes off like really easily, you've waited a little too long. If you pull a little too early, folks, you're adding.
You might bounce.
You might bounce.
Yeah.
You're also adding aerodynamic or even physical drag, depending what the plane does, and it's going to slow you back down. So you really have to time it just right. Some pilots sing or count before they pull, and then they kind of adjust based on the wind. Here is Derek Holman now in the Maule. Okay.
Very nice.
He had a very sporty arrival yesterday. That hasn't phased him at all. He's ready. He's back on the horse, ready to go. Here's Mike Counsell in the PA-12. You might recognize that last name.
Especially if you're from here. The Moses Lake area. And he's got that tail up. He's going to pull back on the stick, and we'll see those main tires lift off the ground.
So judges now, folks, if you look out there, you see the judges are looking visually for where he departed the ground. But the person in the blue vest, all the judges in the blue vest, they're actually like photo-visual judges. So they're recording slow-mo video, and they can actually, if there's a disagreement among the judges, they can go and roll their own tape to get a score into race control. Mike Counsell, not quite an improvement there on that takeoff. 184 feet. Here comes Ryan Melendez. Even shorter, I think, than last time. He is working that vintage Super Cub like it's no one's business. Best takeoff so far, 75 feet. I think that was shorter.
72.
There you go, sir.
Oh, holy cow. Just to put it in perspective, and I'm not picking on you, but like, what's the takeoff distance on a day like today? What was your takeoff roll in the long easy?
Probably 1,000. It's got sticky tires.
But it goes 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Here's Andrew Patry now.
Man,
right on the line.
Wow, just dropping it in there.
Good. Still could not get the reverse beta thrust thing going on. Let's go to the replay here to see how it ended up on the line.
I mean, no burst of power needed. He just,
that will be a scratch for Andrew Patry.
Dang.
You know, that advantage of the artificial turf guys is that it kicks up all that rubber, that granulated rubber.
Yeah, that turf dust.
Makes it very easy to know if someone's scratched. So we were saying, we've got John Douglas on final here. You were saying, you can cruise really fast.
We're on the opposite end of the spectrum for aircraft. If you want it in the top end, you got to give it up on the bottom end. If you want it on the bottom end, you got to give it up on the top end. So our airplanes are literally designed for completely different operations.
Ooh, close one for John Douglas. You heard him working that throttle over the line. Double-edged sword, right? He's got a score on the board. But all that extra energy now has to be dissipated by the tires and the brakes. Going to the replay now. Good. Yeah, good
clean.
over the line.
Now, I know if your tires touch behind the line, it's a DQ, but what happens if you smack the tail?
Tail is A-okay if you manage to do that. Here's Derek Holman in the Maule. Yeah, so particularly with the tail wheel aircraft, we're going to see.
Then it's not okay.
It's okay. You can touch
it's just the
tail
mains.
Yep.
It's all about the mains. So we've had competitors in the sport class like Eddie Sanchez, who's not here this weekend, but he's got a hyped up, crazy Highlander base, I think. He's
Highlander
drugging
XL.
the tail like 70 feet, just holding it on the thrust.
Just holding, and then drop.
Yeah.
God, we're learning out here. This is cool. I'm loving it.
Mike Counsell now on final approach in the PA-12. While he does that, I want to say a big thank you to the local chapter of the Washington Pilots Association, the Port of Moses Lake, and the Moses Lake Airshow, of course, for helping us bring aviation to the masses here at STOL Aviation. Here comes Mike Counsell now, rounding out in ground effect, holding it off. Good over the line, gave up maybe two.
That's a long roll.
He's not even going to stop, I don't think. Oh, there he goes. He's stopping now. Gave up about 2 plane lengths, I think, over the line. So, yeah, we're
race control.
We're getting things in our ears right now here, Kyle. There's a question in the chat we have to go to. Redbird Stole saying, I can't believe you got Kyle in the booth. Does he have the gold shoes on?
There we go.
The camera.
He's got them.
The gold shoes are on.
The gold shoes are on.
I love that.
That's our competitor, Sheldon Hetherington, Redbird Stole.
And look at Ryan Melendez now, guys.
Just hovering in the air.
We had a lot of time to talk, and I was like, "What's taking so long?" And then I looked over at the display here, and Ryan Melendez just doing Super Cup things, coming in on that wind.
Just modulating the throttle across the line. Good to go. He's going to get it stopped.
That's going to be a good combined time.
Oh,
or distance, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Time's got nothing to do with it.
Take all the time you want.
And there's that tail touch. Oh, no.
Oh.
No. They're going to call that a scratch for Ryan Melendez. Heartbreak on that great
such a good
combo.
takeoff.
He's got another attempt for sure. He's solidly in front of Mike in the Cub class right now with 223 versus 420. Let's go check in on the touring class scores. Right now, Derek Holman improving his distance just a little bit, down to 229. It's a fight. Whoa, look at that separation between second and third place.
Oh, my goodness.
Ooh.
So second and third place, folks, separated by 1 foot, 367 to 368 in favor of Andrew Patry.
But that Cessna's a lot heavier than that Maule. Like, he's got a big advantage on this.
Yeah, we're working. I mean, these are the working airplanes, right? The Maule, the Cessnas.
Oh, sorry, we're talking the 1 foot between the two Cessnas.
Yeah, between the two
Jeez.
Cessnas. Yeah. Between Andrew Patry and John Douglas, both 182s. Andrews is a little bit older by a few years, but
yeah, you can tell a difference in that vintage straight tail on his 182. Supposedly is faster than the slanted tail.
The straight tail is?
Yep.
Also notice on the front edge of the wing there, folks, if you look at Andrew Patry's wing, you'll see a bunch of little, like, sharp-looking things. Those are called VGs, or vortex generators. They actually help the wind that's going over the wing, like, stay attached to the top of it so it doesn't stall as soon. Here we go. On the roll.
Ooh.
Oh, man, he was... that was hashtag aggressive, Andrew.
Yeah.
That one made me
and just
feel,
hanging it on the prop as he's going out.
About that one inside of me. I don't know how else to explain it. Okay.
Feelings.
Feelings. It gave me feelings, Andrew. All right, John Douglas now from Pinedale, Wyoming, coming down about 6,000 feet in altitude from where he is to here. Waiting for the air bosses to release him.
Yep.
Working
see
that
him.
rudder right away.
Yep.
You and I saw that at the same time. Look at him yanking back. Could have pulled a hash. I mean, backseat piloting, but he could have pulled back. Just did you feel that too?
That's the job, sitting in the booth, is to backseat pilot this.
If it springs off just a little too easy, it's just a little too late.
Yeah.
Derek Holman now on the line. John Douglas down to his shortest takeoff so far with 142. Andrew Patry, his shortest as well. Guys, that was a 93.
Oh, my goodness.
Here goes the Maule. Settling back down. So here's the bummer for him. That was a pretty nice
initial
departure point.
Yeah.
But he settled back down. He's got a little too aggressive with it. That left main touches down. We then have to measure from where that left main left the ground. And I think it may be way further than what's being noticed right now. Like, it touched down and rolled out for a while. So
I mean, yeah, somewhere near 175 feet on that is what I saw.
they're
Mike
putting that
Counsell.
at 199.
Okay.
Mike Counsell now over in the Cub class in the PA-12. He's going to have to shorten up by hundreds of feet to be in contention with Ryan. And Ryan's showing us, I love it, he's a young kid flying a vintage Super Cub.
Yeah. 54. 1954, that is.
I used to fly a 56. Beautiful airplane.
Oh,
I love
man.
those things.
So jealous. These are the quintessential STOL aircraft. Oh,
Okay.
wow. Come on, Ryan.
The judges got to walk forward, you know, that's a good sign. Next thing you know, he's going to be doing the Steve Henry maneuver where he points at him and brings him forward. So they're calling that 60. We haven't even gotten to the light airplanes yet. We're already at 62 feet. This is crazy. We're having really good performance today. The wind did pick up from what we saw during your air show routines. It started to get windier as we shifted into STOL mode, let's call it.
Yeah, a little bit cooler, too. Airplanes like cool air.
Andrew Patry now, short final. Oh,
Oh.
flopping it in. Still not getting that reverse pitch.
Yeah, something's
Sorry,
going
what
on.
were you gonna say?
It was a great landing, a little too fast, a little too hot, and a little longer.
Yeah, his best. Let's go check. Best on the board was 219.
Scratched the last one, so this one we'll see what he's going to give us.
John Douglas now doing his best helicopter maneuver. Look at that. He's coming in nice and slow in his 182. Wondering what the winds aloft are doing as that transition down.
You got 104 on the landing.
Yeah, combined total 197 for Andrew Patry. He's in first place right now with John Douglas.
He is working.
Wow.
He was working that turf. Holy cow. Just like rooster tails of rubber coming up off the turf. That was cool. You can see why Hal said, if John can land in it, we'll be fine. Let's be real, though. So this turf, a lot of engineering and mathematics went in to make sure it had the shear strength to make sure it was strong enough to support these operations. Here's the Maule, Derek Holman. Ooh, right on the line. That may be good enough. He's got to get first place back from Andrew Patry. Watching the replay here. Oh, guys, I don't know if that could have been any closer. Like an inch over the line.
Yeah.
Like an altitude, an inch of altitude. Look at working that nose gear, too, just flopping around. Folks, you're getting a show here in Moses Lake right now. It's almost like he's like shoveling the rubber out of the way. He's still not short enough, though, to get back first place from Andrew Patry. Now, over to the Cub class. Mike Counsell coming on in on those quintessential fat tires. Good over the line. He's going to give up about 75 feet before touching down. Now he's got to get it stopped. Nice. Ryan Melendez with a 62-foot takeoff. Going to pull up the weather. Right now, wind as of 45 minutes ago, wind's 230 at 10. So maybe not as much as we had yesterday. We had heavy gusts yesterday, but we're seeing shorter numbers today. And I don't know if it's because it's just constant, it's consistent, so they can dial it in.
Also a little bit cooler, so a lower DA.
That's a good
There we
point.
go.
Wings are going to fly a little bit better.
All right, we are at 2,300 DA. Density altitude, what the airplane thinks that it's flying at.
Here comes Ryan now on short final, holding it off. Oh, just a little too short for Ryan Melendez.
No.
Flying that Super Cub there. So great. Sounds like he's planning on a big Canadian adventure up through Canada into Alaska.
Okay,
it's a trip to remember. I've flown all up in the high north. Very beautiful, but very unforgiving.
So those three runs are going to complete the Cub class here at the Moses Lake Air Show for Moses Lake STOL. Ryan Melendez in first place with the best run, combined score of 223. And Mike Counsell best run combined score of 415. That's going to put him in second place. We're going to withhold the touring results because we still need to see the elder Holman fly in that Maule. But right now, as we head into that matchup, Rick's got to try to get in this, top 3 podium. Andrew Patry holding strong at 197. Derek Holman 229, and John Douglas over at 368. So, what do you think? That was your first time watching a STOL comp, Kyle. What do you think?
I loved it. I found it to be very interesting, and there's a lot of similarities. Like I told you earlier, I've got about 150 hours in Super Cubs. I love the Super Cub. It's like a 4-wheel drive with wings. And if I wasn't doing air shows, I think that's probably the direction I would go. It's so much fun. But I think there are similarities between the two. When these guys are flying STOL, they are flying on the absolute edge of what their aircraft can do. As slow as they can, stopping as short as they can, taking off as short as they can. And it's right on the edge of what they're capable of doing. And it's not that much different with air shows. We are out there flying aerobatics, and we are putting those airplanes on the edge of what they can do. We're at the edge of the envelope, just in different fields.
That is, I asked you, I said, how on earth, I'm gonna break the fourth wall here. Right before we got on camera, I said to Kyle, I don't know how on earth we're gonna connect what you do going upside down super fast in a crazy backwards airplane to what we're doing in National STOL. And he's like, I got it. I got it figured out. I know exactly how to explain it. And yeah, you're right. It's about finding the edge, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, my aircraft is a great example because it is not an aerobatic airplane. And yet here I am flying air shows with it all across North America. We found the edge of the limit, and we fly right on it.
That is awesome. That is super, super cool.
And plus, I am a pilot. I mean, I love listening to my own voice. I can talk forever until it makes sense.
we found that out. You and I got it locked in a conversation last night. I was like, oh man, we both really like talking about this stuff, but we're passionate.
Yes, we are. That passion will go across all fields of aviation.
So while we get ready for the next class, folks, Kyle, man, I love hanging out with you, man. You're so much fun. We want to also thank the folks at Confluence Health for bringing National STOL specifically to the Moses Lake Air Show. We really appreciate that support. We are getting ready now for the next. So, Kyle, I don't know how long you're hanging with us. You're welcome to stay as long as you want. We are shifting gears now from the touring class, the heavies, and the Cub class, which was specifically designed to give the Cubs a place to play where they aren't competing against the super high horsepower Cub types. We needed to make a little competitive niche for them there. Now we're going to be switching over to the Backcountry class, and you're going to be seeing Jughead Counsell. You're going to see him flying Cessna 170 Bravo, former air show guy, doing a lot of air show work.
Yep.
Shad Forrester is going to be in a Cessna 172. Ron Piercy in a Citabria.
Ooh.
Now we're shifting to different aircraft. Folks, up next after that, you're going to see aircraft that are performing crazier and crazier, including we saw in practice yesterday Mike Babcock in this brand new Yamaha-powered Badlands Traveler.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a short break. We'll be back at Moses Lake, at the Moses Lake Air Show in just a few minutes.
Learn from flyers worldwide. Watch your flights unfold with accurate terrain, scenery, altitude, ground speed, and ground track. Improving your wind situational awareness by reviewing your flight path with wind data. Invite friends to join you. Debriefing with peers is a blast. Seeing your skills improve fast by avoiding repeated mistakes. Never wasting a chance to document bragging rights. or continue to improve by connecting with pilots and instructors who inspire you. Just tap to record.
And we are back at Moses Lake, the National STOL competition at the Moses Lake Airshow. We've got Backcountry Class coming up. Why don't we talk about the Backcountry Class right now?
So the touring class, it used to be just touring airplanes, and now that we've switched around the classes, because the 170Bs would always win, so they ended up putting us in the Bush class, which it's a touring airplane, and the word has it Austin Clemens isn't coming, because the Super 170's in his class.
Tough battle, but Husky will win at the end of the day.
A little backstory here. I've been struggling. I used to be super consistent.
I think that little 4 or 5 knot crosswind just threw them off. They couldn't handle it.
So last night, Micah was inhaling helium, which obviously lightens the load.
So I went from the top to fighting for upper percentile.
Let me tell you something, Reese. We're out here today with some of these fine airplanes flying, but there's one that was on fire today because I had a front row seat and I watched all 3 of those pilots fly. Sean Johnson was on fire today. He was flying his best game, and he got to bring his best game because he's flying against Michael Lindstrom and Jeff Pohl, 2 of the best pilots in the lower 48. Let me tell you, brother, they're awesome out here today with this beautiful weather. It's so good to be out here.
Well, I did a pull test on my airplane. I was only pulling 745 pounds, and so I had them deburr the cylinders, and now I'm pulling 815 pounds of thrust.
And we're back. We're about to see some amazing flying. Backcountry Class, Jughead, Counsell, Shad, Forrester, Ron Piercy. And here we go. Number 115, Jughead Counsell in the 1955 Cessna 170B from Snohomish, Washington. Number 103, Shad Forrester in the 1970 Cessna 172 from Moses Lake, Washington, hometown hero.
And another one.
And number 503, Mr. Ron Piercy in the 1978 Bellanca Citabria, also from Moses Lake, Washington. We've got a whole lineup of Moses Lake residents competing with us today.
While we get ready for this next round of action, folks, I want to say hi to Tegan in the chat. She flew in the competition last year, and she says, missed the 45 knots we had last year. Yes, we did have 45 whole knots on the nose last year. But Tegan, stay tuned for the adventure class. You're going to see something pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That's something new that I think Tegan, you specifically will enjoy. So stay tuned for that. As we go through the classes, folks, here at Moses Lake, you're going to see things get shorter and shorter, louder and louder, more and more intense.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to share that with all of you. Also, don't forget, now is a great time to go to nationalstol.com/vote, nationalstol.com/vote, to vote for your favorite pilot. They actually get prizes if you help them out there. Also, folks, don't forget to continue to visit those vendors and food booths here at the Moses Lake Air Show, helping us keep going after a intense, long day of excitement. I mean, we just had Kyle Fowler in here talking about his Long Easy Aerobatic Act. There were so many times today we were announcing the whole air show, and I needed to remember to breathe because you have so many intense moments in the sky here at Moses Lake. We had Kyle Fowler doing the Long Easy thing. We had the C-17 demo team. We had a little, friendly dogfight between John Melby and Brad Worston.
Yeah.
And that's just the beginning. There were others that we don't have time to get to right now. Let's get to the action here in this next class. First up, from Moses Lake, Washington, it's race 503, a 1979 Bellanca Citabria. Give it up for Ron Piercy.
Ron is a member of the local EAA Chapter 355 here in Moses Lake. Airplane was rebuilt starting 20 years ago on the East Coast and somehow made it to the West Coast. Has been in the shop for 3 years and was finished and flying Thursday just in time for competition. Ron,
Whoa.
Right?
Whoa.
That's crazy.
That is totally crazy. Oh, that explains why it's so pretty.
Yeah. Super shiny Citabria, the great grandson of the Aranca champ.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Next up, another hometown pilot from Moses Lake, Washington. Give it up for race 103 in 1970. Cessna 172. It's Shad Forrester.
Shad is a commercial pilot, father of 3, husband of 1. He had a midlife crisis a couple years ago and became a full-time pilot, 1/3 owner of November 703 Gulf. Hopefully my partners are okay with me competing, is what he's saying today, and it almost didn't make it out to the event.
Next up from Snohomish, Washington, race 115, 1955 Cessna 170 Bravo. It's Jughead Counsell.
Jughead is an accomplished retired USAF fighter pilot, instructor, and civilian pilot. He has experience in over 70 types of aircraft, including gliders, helicopters, and skydiving.
Specifically over 5,000 hours in fighters like the F-15, T-6 Texan II, T-38, and more. Okay, and then, of course, to see what he can do against his son from Cresswell, Oregon, it's race number 45, that 1991 Maule MXT-7. It's Rick Holman.
Rick is the father of DJ that flew in the last heat. Theodore, their skeleton, is their full-time passenger. You'll see him in the right seat and is always either in the back or the right seat and loves having his picture taken.
There's a very interesting conversation with Rick and DJ about if Theodore the skeleton counts when air traffic control asks you how many souls you have on board the airplane. Does a skeleton count? I don't know. That's a big philosophical question, which we're not gonna dive in here because we got to get ready to compete with more action. Here is the Maule now taxiing up to the line. Rick Holman there with Theodore right by his side, getting ready to go. Waiting on the line now, and this is going to be fun to see. So let's put it in perspective for you. His son currently in second place with 2:29 to beat. Oh, clean takeoff for Rick in the Maule.
He's going to give DJ a run for his money.
Next up, it's Jughead Counsell. He's a bit of a celebrity walking around now. Everyone in the airshow industry knows this guy. Used to work with some of the jet teams.
Yeah, like the Patriot jet team.
Here's Jughead now, giving it full throttle. Rolling down that turf, getting that tail eased up very precisely, yanking it back, and he is off. Now, this is interesting. I talked to Jughead yesterday. I walked up and said, hey, nice flying today. And he wasn't super pleased with the flying he did during practice yesterday. He said the takeoffs were all particularly longer than he would normally put down. And I would agree. I think normally see shorter numbers out of Jughead.
Yeah.
He didn't feel like it was exactly the way he wanted it. So hoping to see him improve today, get a little bit lower number on the takeoffs. Next up, Shad Forrester, race 103.
Giving the judges a run for their money, quite literally having to run to figure out where Shad lifted off from.
By the way, Tegan, we talked about her earlier in the chat. She said, Jughead's lucky I'm not there to give him a run. They did have a bit of a rivalry last year, the two of them.
They switched airplanes, and she flew his plane, right? He flew her airplane.
But unfortunately, Jughead would want us to point out that he did fly her plane better. Sorry, Tegan.
Sorry.
I was rooting for you, though, Tegan. Okay, here we go. Now, Ron Piercy in the 1978 Bellanca Citabria. Woo, getting off. There we go. Left wing came down. That's cool, watching the volcanic ash come up there from the ground. Now, I want to talk more about this turf. The other cool thing about this, the folks here at the Moses Lake Airport, the Moses Lake Airshow, Grant County International Airport here in Moses Lake and the Moses Lake Airshow, they wanted to put on, getting nice and low there for Rick Holman. Hold that thought. Here he comes.
Oh,
and
looks
too
like a
short.
scratch. Was that? Oh, that was the scratch horn.
Yeah, the
out
scratch
there.
horn. Give a little toots of disappointment there for the scratch horn. So this turf runway, not only is it something that the pilots are loving, it's also been great for the environment. And so what we found out yesterday is that this turf is actually upcycled.
Yeah.
It's been taken out of an old stadium, and instead of it being disposed of, it got installed here to help our pilots out because that volcanic ash, while dramatic, was a bit abrasive. Jughead now. Almost over the line. It just, you saw the lift just give up on that left wing, in particular. It just dropped down a little bit. So he is too short there, so that's going to be a scratch for Jughead. Next up, watch frame by frame there. He was hanging it out, but came down about 3 or 4 feet before the line. Now, Shad Forrester next up in the 172. He's got it dialed in. He's on his home court, right? He's got a little bit of a home field advantage here. Not that Jughead isn't from around Washington, but this is literally where Shad Forrester flies out of. Burst of power. Holding it off. A little extra speed to contend with now. And too short for him as well. So we are down to 2 scratches in the backcountry class.
In this first round.
Ron Piercy next up in the Citabria. Man, watch him come down. It just gave up. He's working those gear. Couldn't fly it anymore. Here's Ron Piercy now turning base to final. There's always someone in the chat, the social chat, who makes a bit of a joke. They're like, "Oh, these landings look kind of rough." That's the internet troll voice. You're like, "Oh, these landings are kind of rough." Folks, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
We are not concerned with passenger comfort here at National STOL. We're concerned about getting down and stopped. Imagine you're landing in the backcountry on that sandbar.
Yes, sir.
You don't want to go off the other end.
No.
Maybe you want to feel it in the gear a little bit. You want to feel it in your seat when you land. Oh, way too short for Ron Piercy in the Citabria. That's a hard plane to compete in National STOL.
Yes. That is no joke. Not easy. Even though it does have flaps, right?
It's got
Should
the
be
flaps.
easy.
Well, easier, yeah.
But
it's just, for some reason, the Citabrias, the offshoots of that brand, they're more, I think, especially one that's been freshly restored.
Yeah.
They're more about comfort than a true competitive plane, right? If you look at the way that Tegan has her 170 built out, it is literally as light as possible. All the comfort's taken out. All that weight is put into performance.
Yep.
So it's just a little different.
Still doesn't detract that.
Oh, sorry. It's awesome. Citabria is awesome.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Yeah. Short landings. I mean, we're not – the field is only so long, right? So from the line to the end of the turf, what was it? Was it 300 feet, 500 feet? Do you remember?
A little over 300 feet.
Okay, so a little over 300 feet. I mean, we're talking about airplanes landing on 300 feet of turf when a lot of airplanes, like Kyle Fowler was here talking about, he's got a long takeoff roll. He's got a long –
feet.
Yeah. Long takeoff roll and a long landing roll. So, especially compared to these aircraft. So, we're talking about Citabria relative to other aircraft in the touring and in the backcountry class.
Rick Holman not yet on the board, had a scratch that first run for him, still competing in the touring class. Folks, if you like what you see today, check us out for another event near you or live stream at National STOL's YouTube and Facebook. Every single event nationwide. Here we go. Rick Holman digging that tail in. And now he's got to get that nose down, get that aircraft up to flying speed. You'll see them leap off the ground a bit, and then they push the nose down so that it will keep flying. You don't want to get too slow, right? But you can get a little extra juice out of what's called ground effect when we're about a half a wing length.
Yep.
Or wingtip to wingtip length. Wingspan, that's the
right,
word I'm looking
right.
for.
There we
You're
go.
half a wingspan above the ground. You get a little extra cushion from Mother Nature, from physics, from science. Here's John Jughead Counsell getting that tail up, dropping it down. That is now we are in more of what I'd expect to see from Jughead. He's down in that right around the 150-ish mark, I think. We'll see what the actual score comes up as. So he's going to be pleased with that. Next up, Shad Forrester.
And real quick, Rick Holman, 107 feet on that takeoff, his shortest takeoff so far. Shad Forrester in the 172. He's going to dump the flaps and pull back on the stick.
Settling down, can he hold it off? I think he did, yeah.
Okay, good.
If you settle down, it's a no-go. Everyone DQ'd in the backcountry class that time around, even STOL legend Jughead Counsell. He just put up a 206 for his takeoff. Shad Forrester at 212. Oh, nipping at the heels of greatness, are you, Shad? And then next up, Ron Piercy in the Citabria. And I don't want to say they're not capable backcountry aircraft, because they 100% are.
Yes.
We're just doing things a little differently here in competition,
This
right?
is in sport, yep. Keeping it, doing a wheel takeoff, but keeping the tail low. It's going to give him a little bit of an advantage on some airspeed to get up in the air.
So, folks, if you're new to National STOL, well, they come around the traffic pattern right now. Actually, I don't even have time to talk about where we've been and where we're going. Look at this. Right now on short final, to your right, Rick Holman holding it off, good over the line, dropping it down, retracting those flaps. That's a pro move right there.
Oh,
You
yeah.
retract those flaps, it kills all that extra lift, gets a little more weight on the wheels. So here we go. We've got Jughead now on final approach. Folks, it is getting more and more intense class over class. Don't forget, at the end of the show today, you're going to see the unlimited class. Is that an airplane? I'm pretty sure that's still an airplane class. Here we go, Jughead. Oh, right on the line. They're calling it good on the line there. The line judge has the checkered flag up. He's stopped right around 150 feet. Let's go to the replay. Oh, no. Oh, Jughead.
Oh, Heartbreak Hotel.
Kicking up. He is, no words. 6 inches. Just landed 6 inches short there for Jughead. So another scratch on the board for him. Shad Forrester now coming over the line in the 172. Nicely done. I believe that'll put him up into first place as the only person to have touched down successfully so far in this class.
Yeah, as we see in the replay, he's good over the line. Lots of daylight under the tires.
While the Citabria comes in, we're talking about the unlimited class. Folks, in the unlimited class, we saw a takeoff yesterday with a little bit more wind. we saw a takeoff of 21 feet, and too short there for the Citabria. Healthy scratch. So Dan Reynolds in his purpose-built DR Chinook, the Valdez Special, he took off in 21 feet. So if you want to see an airplane take off in 21 feet, I guess, stick around. It's going to be awesome. That's the Unlimited class, a few classes away. The other thing we want to talk about is this is the 4th stop on the National STOL Circuit this year in 2025. Our pilots are earning points at each event that go towards an annual sponsorship at the end of the year. Upcoming in a few weeks will be in Hartford, Wisconsin, July 18th and 19th. If you're a pilot, you want to register or volunteer, you want to get up close and personal to STOL flying, definitely check that out. Rocky Mountain STOL, August 15th and 16th in Pinedale, Wyoming. That's the highest will be all year. Appalachian Mountain STOL, Clarion, Pennsylvania, August 29th and 30th. We're also going to be in places in September and October and even November, where you can see us in Virginia Beach, Pensacola, Oklahoma, Gallatin, Tennessee, and Sulphur Springs, Texas for the Lone Star STOL and National Finals presented by American Legend Aircraft. That one, if you want to just come to the end and see how it all nets out, October 30th through November 1st. So that's in Sulphur Springs, Texas. So we are all over the country. Cam and I and the rest of the National STOL crew, we have been getting a tour de force, a tour of this great nation, this great country.
Absolutely.
God bless America.
Yeah.
That's what we've been doing.
Coast to coast, literally.
Literally coast to coast. Yeah, absolutely. Rick
Space
Holman
Coast.
on the line while we chat here. Cam, go ahead.
Nope. You got it. All good. I was just going to say something stupid.
I'm sure it was going to be quite insightful.
Nah, just Space Ghost, coast to coast.
Rick Holman waiting for his turn. And so it sounds like, just talking to race control folks, thanks for hanging with us. We've got a little bit of delay. The air traffic control tower here at Grant County International has us on delay, so we're going to be just away in just a minute. Let's learn a little bit more about Jughead Counsell, who's flying in this heat.
Welcome, everybody. I'm John Jughead Counsell. I am from Moses Lake, Washington, though I now live over in Snohomish, Washington. I fly a 1955 Cessna 170B. It's got a sportsman's cuff, VGs, 180 gear legs, 31-inch Alaska bush wheels, a climb prop. It is still a stock 0300 engine. And, of course, I've always got my co-pilot with me, my dog Dakota. It is great to be back in Moses Lake. I fly my airplane 95% of the time off airport. I always am predicting what my takeoff is, so I was baffled yesterday. I didn't know why the airplane was not flying the way it was supposed to. So for today, going out, kind of a lot like some of the other competitors. Calm down, settle down, just fly a basic airplane. If I don't fly a good airplane, if I repeat yesterday's practice performance, I'm going to find myself not standing at the top of the podium, which is not what a competitor comes here for, especially being in your hometown. I would won it once. I would love to win it a second time. I literally grew up here in Moses Lake at the airport. In the old control tower, I used to spend hours up there after school on a weekly basis. My father, myself, my brother all soloed out of what was Grant County Aviation, eventually Columbia Pacific Aviation, where we had barbecues the other night. We've got pictures of those 3 airplanes on our initial solo picture parked within 50 feet of each other. So a lot of heritage. My dad came to Moses Lake because of the Air Force when it was Larson Air Force Base. I've seen all the Boeing test flying done here. I've seen the Concorde do ice testing, the Air Force here doing exercises, electric airplanes flying here, fire bombers, the turf. Cox Sod Farm brought in some leftover or reused AstroTurf. Everybody was kind of unsure, is this really going to work? Lance Hoke, one of his masterminds, laid the absolute perfect landing surface down. It is smooth. The seams are glued to the earth. I don't know how you glue carpet to dirt and make it that strong, but they know how. And this is the smoothest, best, consistent braking action surface I've ever landed on. It's cool to see all the rubber pellets flying up behind the tires. It's great because if you're not sure if somebody's scratched, you go look at the film and instantly you can tell the second that tire touches the ground, because instead of trying to figure out did it touch a piece of grass or not, nope, a piece of rubber starts flying up behind it. But it is absolutely the coolest thing. We're going to go to other places and go, oh, can't wait to get back to Moses Lake and fly on the AstroTurf.
I love that. Learning about that AstroTurf.
Yeah.
Cam, you had an astute observation just then.
Yeah. You lose an engine over the city, land in a baseball field.
Apparently, yeah. Land at the baseball field or land at a football field.
Yeah.
Or a European football field.
Oh,
They call that soccer around
football.
Football. Hey, folks, big thanks to our sponsor, American Legend Aircraft. We talked about it. They're going to be hosting the event at the end of the year. And then Red Tag Art. They're making our custom trophies for our annual award winners. So big thanks to them for being another one of our sponsors. As we continue to hold here for air traffic control deconfliction here, I've just heard from race control that we've got an aircraft on a 4-mile final that we're holding for. And then once they come in and land, we'll be able to continue competition.
Oh, yep.
So just a little bit of a hold here as we wait for traffic. We want to make sure that we are safe, make sure that we aren't conflicting with the general operation of Grant County International Airport. The TFR for the Airshow has been lifted. TFR stands for Temporary Flight Restriction. It means that you can't fly when that TFR is up. So that has been lifted. Aircraft can come in and out of this airport, but that means we need to just wait a little bit for them to come in. So we will be back with you in just a minute with more action, more STOL action. Hold tight, folks. It's going to be a good one as things amp up more and more. Next up, folks, while we wait for this hold, I want to give you a little preview of what you're going to be seeing. You're going to be seeing the Adventure Class. Adventure Class, you're going to see a beautiful carbon cub, bright red, almost looks like it's fresh off the line, and then a brand new 2025 Badlands Traveler that is powered by a Yamaha engine. So many, it's like all the horsepower. They didn't even know what to rate it at yet. It's so many horsepower on that airplane. That's going to be crazy. That airplane put down numbers. Let me get you some numbers here. 32-foot takeoff. That is insane, a 32-foot takeoff in the giant airplane. So we're holding for that. But right now, we're joined in the booth by a special guest. Why don't you let us know who you are and what are you doing here at the Airshow?
My name's Jason Hall. I'm on the board of directors for the Airshow. It's first year this year, so bear with me. But we just worked hard to try to make sure it was a good show for everyone, and we're very pleased with how it turned out. We have a lot of good display. We have a lot of good competitors, and the community actually really came out for us too and donated well. We have a lot of good support from the community, and we're hoping to grow that over the next several years and make it a better show every year.
That is awesome. Well, we really appreciate you bringing us in to show our edge of aviation here at National STOL to everybody. So we really appreciate that. What's your favorite part of the show, Ben? I mean, I know you're going to say National STOL, but besides us, what's your favorite part of the show?
I really got to say, and I'm not saying it because I'm sitting here, I have not watched this kind of competition before, up close, personal like this. I did see something on YouTube before. This was super cool to be here we're like right there. You guys are showing the instant replays on that big screen. It is super awesome. Probably, if you'd asked me this before this happened, I would have said my favorite part was some of the acrobats. This actually took the place of that. And I know some of the competitors personally. I went to school with a couple of them. And so
that's
very
cool.
happy.
Yeah, so you see what they're doing out there.
Absolutely. Yes. It's fantastic.
Talk to me a little bit about what does it take to put on an air show, right? Is it a something you can crank out in a month?
Yeah, super easy. We got on YouTube. No, I'm just kidding. It is so much work. I joined the board a little bit later. There was already a whole bunch of groundwork that was done, but just from the time that I got on until actually showtime, literally, it was like we would get together and meet, and if we didn't have key people in the back end that were putting this stuff together, it would have never happened. But there is so much that goes on. We were meeting weekly, and we joked our meetings were supposed to be an hour. 3 or 4 hours into them, we were like, hey, we have families, we got to go. It's all worth it, because we poured a bunch of time and effort and energy into this, and you're thinking, man, is this worth it? And then the show came, and this is what happened. Completely worth it. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, no.
So it sounds like, and you can hang out with us for a little bit. We're going to get the action started here. Green flag now. We got the props turning there. Rick Holman is ready for release. I believe that means that aircraft that was on final approach there has recovered onto the runway. So no more conflict. And yet you can hear the throttle spooling up here with the Maule. Rick Holman at the controls. Digging that tail in, and he's off into ground effect there. And so Rick Holman, let's go back to those touring scores just to catch everyone up as we waited for that hold. He's currently in 3rd place, let's be real, he's trying to beat his kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
His kid, Derek Holman, sitting up there
Gloves
right in front
off.
of us right now. He's watching his dad going, come on, Dad, I'm sure you can't do as good as me, because that's what every son thinks about their father. So we want to see Rick put up a good fight against Derek. Okay, Jughead Counsell now. Former F-15 pilot, going to give it the afterburner here. Tail up, tail down. That left main came off. That right main stuck on just a little bit longer.
I mean, just a hair longer. But that's all right. He's up in the air. Score on the board. It may not be a score that he's happy with, but he's got one there.
Shad Forrester currently in 1st place by virtue of being the only one who's done a successful landing in this class. That's fun little bragging rights for him right now. He's from here in Moses Lake, Washington. It would be really cool to see him bring home a 1st place. So he's going to give it all the coffee beans, all the legendary aviation coffee beans. He's going to roll back, slamming that tail down. Now he pulled a little too early, and look what happened.
Yeah.
He pulled early. That tail hit the ground. Not a big deal if you're ready to fly, but it wasn't ready to fly, Cam, and so it just kept him stuck to the ground. He's going to have a really long score there.
Yeah, I wonder if he had some braking issues. Like, he was going very slow coming off the line. It's a lot slower than what I'm used to.
Next up, the Citabria. That is a pretty plane.
It's so pretty. That red is gorgeous.
1978, recently restored.
And he's not going to hold the brakes at all and just give it a go.
There we go, and he is off. He's going to get that nose back down there.
Yeah, looking like 205, maybe 205 feet.
So Jughead now putting down what I would call Jughead class numbers.
Yeah,
Down at
194.
194. I'm not sure what Tegan would say about that, but she's still in the chat. Also, I want to give thanks to our friend Glenn in the chat. Glenn Ari's correcting my not flight instruction I gave earlier. Ground effect is the full wingspan. Now, Rick Holman giving up like 75 feet over the line. That's not going to beat DJ. Look, DJ's pumping his fist like, ha ha, Dad, not today. So thank you, Glenn, for that correction. Full wingspan versus half. Who's up next? Here comes Jughead. Okay, watch Jughead now floating in, Cam. He's got those big bush tires hanging down in the air, flaps down. Those are those inboard control surfaces, folks, the ones that give you more drag and more lift. You can fly a little more slowly on approach.
Ooh, extra burst of power. It gave him a little distance from the line.
Didn't want to scratch. He wanted to get on the board, so he gave it that throttle, but that means he's going to go further down the runway.
Right.
And let's watch on the replay here. Also, just like he was working the elevator like pretty aggressively there to keep it off the ground. Let's see if that's enough for Jughead, though. It very well might be. Yep, by 12 feet, he's going to be in front of Shad Forrester. Shad Forrester's down and good, heavy on the brakes, working that brand new turf runway to get stopped, leaving Ron Piercy in for his final approach in the Citabria. And he is turning base to final right now to the right, folks, here in the crowd. Settling in down low now.
We're going to see what the Citabria can do in this low approach. Oh.
A little bit of a balloon. Holding it off, holding it off, holding it off.
Oh, wow.
I think we did it.
Yeah.
Third prize of charm for Ron Piercy.
That's so awesome because I got a tent in front of me, so when he ballooned, it looked like he had bounced. And I was like, oh, maybe a scratch. No, he made it right across the line.
Watch the replay to confirm that we are correct. Oh, I think we're okay. Yeah,
we're good.
The tail wheel can touch. The main wheels made it over the line. So let's talk about the Airshow a little bit more while they get ready for the next competitive heat. Anyone we should thank for bringing this all together?
For sure. Our major sponsors that we want to make sure we appreciate and thank it. Gisa Credit Union locally, they're a major sponsor for us. Boeing is a major sponsor for us. The Port of Moses Lake is a major sponsor, which it's our facility as well, but they also financially donate to us. And City of Moses Lake and Grant County, those are our 5 biggest sponsors, but there's a whole bunch of sponsors locally, smaller businesses that also contributed, and all of that is necessary to pay for the things that it takes to put this show on. So we really appreciate that. But bigger than thanking all of the vendors that came out and you guys coming out, we wouldn't have a show to put on if it wasn't for the people in the community that turned out. Like, we've had good attendance, and I'm very pleased with that. So we just hope to grow that every year. And if you had fun this year, tell your friends, and let's get more out next year. So.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely correct. Like, we had the list of sponsors, and it takes a village to put something on like this, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Literally. Folks, we are getting ready to go to the scores now to see how these last 2 classes ended up. We do have the touring official numbers in. Let's go into the touring class. Here's how it's going to settle up. Derek's waiting on bated breath here, I think. Andrew Patry's going to take first place with 197 combined. Derek Holman in front of his dad, 229. Rick Holman, 276. And John Douglas in fourth with 368 feet. That's going to be the touring class for Moses Lake STOL 2025. The backcountry class, it literally happened, guys, in the last run. Jughead Counsell taken first on that last, literally on that last landing, 392 feet. Shad Forrester, 404, and Ron Piercy, 425. You know, I want to just apologize to Ron. I was kind of talking a little smack about the Citabria, and look at how he brought that in. He dialed that in over the course of the rounds, and he's putting in a number that competitive. Pretty impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, I have another question, because I've been having a lot of fun here. What can we expect? You guys are already probably planning 2026. Anything we can tease about next year, what you're trying to plan to do?
That's a dangerous, dangerous thing, because we are trying to line up some fun stuff for next year, but we don't have confirmation on that. Let's just say that we expect the ground display to be larger and better than it was this year. And performers-wise, we've already started collaborating on that, but I don't want to make any promises there. We're starting very early, and we're working very hard to make it an awesome show for next year.
And that is something for folks. I've been learning more about the airshow industries. We've been on the road. Like, things start, I don't know when you'll make your formal announcements, but they start to kind of firm up in December.
Yeah.
There's a certain event in Las Vegas where some of the deals get finalized at the Paris Hotel.
Yes, yes, as a matter of fact.
So we'll see how that all ends up. Let's give a shout out, by the way, to Carl, Alpha 42. He's the water truck driver. I love that he's got his own call out there. The water truck driver doing some work for us, wetting down the field there. So it's going to be just a second while we water down all that volcanic ash for Mount St. Helens. Things are going to heat up next with the Adventure Class. Oh, we're about to turn up the volume a lot in just a few minutes.
Can I say something?
Special thanks to our annual sponsors: Legend Aircraft, Clemens Insurance, Behringer Aero, Sarasota Avionics, Lift Aviation USA, Flying Eyes Optics, Red Tag Art, Legendary Aviation Coffee Company, iFly EFB by Adventure Pilot, Tundra Tailwheel, Fly Orca.
Sarasota was created actually back in the 70s, but we and Bert and Vince, my two partners, they've sold their business to Ryan and Sean, which is my two other partners now. We started around in 1999, 2000. Just had one little spot in this hangar, and we've built it up from there. So we've been here for 23 years now. So, and then we have 5 facilities now here in the state of Florida. First starts in Tampa, Sarasota. Venice here is our main headquarters, so we have Punta Gorda and then Fort Lauderdale, Lantana. Then we have partners in Brazil, South Africa, Greece, Tullahoma, Tennessee, all over the world. We're the largest Garmin dealer in the world, so that's probably what we've been known for. So we do more installs on aircraft, general aviation, anything really under 10,000 pounds than anybody else in the world. So, and we've been that for quite a few years now.
My name is Brian Stack. I'm from Mineola, Texas. This is my 2020 Legend MOAC.
Box 1, go.
You know, at the time, I had no idea what I was building. Went and talked to Darren and Randy at Legend Aircraft, and, you know, I just built an airplane that we could go fly in.
And those MOACs make it challenging, don't they?
Oh, man, them are some beautiful birds, and pilots are good. You know, it's competition.
He calls this airplane, not only does he call it Pepper, he also says it's part of the wolf pack. You can tell why he says that beautiful wolf on the front.
Schmack. For STOL, it's hard to beat a Super Cub. It's called a Lycoming 0290. It's only 125 horsepower. Being as lightweight as it does, it seems to compete pretty good, especially in the STOL stuff compared to the bigger guys.
Now,
here
Brian
comes Brian.
Shirley with a
Oh,
scratch
with a
for
scratch.
Brian Shirley.
Now I kind of had time to regroup myself because it does kind of get in your mind a little bit that you got off your routine a little bit, and I was off my routine today altogether. Brand new airplane, just got it done. I've had it in the mountains. At my home airport up there is at 8,000. I've had it at Leadville, which is 10,000. Where I'm actually from is Dodge City, Kansas, and I've had it there is 2,600. So yeah, I've had all over the country. It's performing well.
And we're back in Moses Lake. Folks, if you're here with us, just make sure that you're policing that trash, making sure that it does not cross the crowd line. We don't want any trash out there getting caught up in any plane's propellers or any parts that might be moving. We especially don't want you to cross the line if there is any trash that does depart the ramp here. So we just want to make sure, for your safety, stay on this side of the ramp and make sure you police your trash on this side of the ramp so it does not cross the restricted area.
And I have a crazy idea, but what my mama taught me, it's okay to pick up other people's trash too.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yep. Totally fine.
Yeah. That sounded kind of snarky, but no, like legit. Like, let's all work together, keep a safe show, keep a clean show, and take a look at things. But yeah, definitely make sure that you stay on this side of the line. Next up, it's the adventure class. You are going to see two really different, really amazing airplanes in this class, folks. Race number 22, Thomas Taranowski in a 2018 Cub Crafters FX3, and Mike Babcock. Hold on to your beverages, folks. 2025 Badlands Traveler from Cottage Grove, Oregon. And then in the sport class, Jeff Fallon in a 2016 Zenith 701. So you're going to see three airplanes do. Oh, folks, this is why you stayed. It's starting to get a little more insane every time. And right around now, yesterday, is when Cam thought I was having legitimate aneurysm because I just couldn't handle what was happening out in front of us. While we get ready to go, you see the competitors taxiing out right now. Want to thank a couple more of our sponsors. iFly EFB, great electronic flight bag product. Check them out. They provide a prize pack that rotates through the classes of all the different aircraft. Also, you just saw and heard a commercial for Fly Orca. It's an app you can use on your phone. Really appreciate their support. Help you maintain relationships, track your training, all sorts of cool stuff. It's like a very pilot-centric app. Okay, let's get to who you're going to see flying in this next class. First up, from the Bay Area in California, it's race number 365. The airplane's called Lil Rabbit. It's a 2016 Zenith 701. Jeff Fallon, give him a round of applause.
Jeff always wanted to fly and didn't start until the age of 45. He flew and camped in a tri-pacer all over the West Coast before it was sold.
This airplane, let's just say it can hop.
It's got ups, man. Got
Yeah.
mad ups.
Yeah, all it needs is a little white tail on the back. Okay, next up, this fire-breathing beast from Cottage Grove, Oregon. It's race number 8, a 2025 Badlands STOL Traveler. Give it up for Mike Babcock.
Mike Babcock grew up in Brownsville, Oregon, where his dad used to fly in a Huey in their backyard.
How do you get, like, your HOA to approve that?
Man, I think with a Huey you can just,
do whatever you want?
Do whatever you want. You can tell the HOA to go someplace. He always wanted to fly, and he's always had a love for being in the air.
Next up, from Black Diamond, Washington, race number 227. It's a 28 Cub Crafters FX3. Oh, gosh, is she pretty. Give it up for Thomas Taranowski.
Thomas visited Alaska 5 years ago and caught the flying bug. He got his pilot's license and bought a Carbon Cup FX3. November 27 Romeo Hotel.
I'm just going to say, Tom, that is one heck of a first airplane.
Yo, that's a flex on top of a flex.
Not messing around in a plane like that. That was a good choice. We've got a green flag here at Moses Lake, Washington. Thanks again for watching online and here in the crowd. Don't forget to vote for your favorite pilot, nationalstol.com/vote. That's nationalstol.com/vote. Full throttle now by Taranowski. Big old fat tires rolling down the turf, and he is off. See what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Already now right around 125 don't have quite as much wind as we had yesterday during practice.
Yep.
But you're still going to see some pretty impressive numbers, especially from this airplane, which I think might be one of my favorite shades of blue.
It is it's a very electric blue.
It looks really good, and it sounds good too.
Oh.
Wait till you hear this thing. It's a Yamaha Apex motor. We asked him how many horsepower it's making. He says at this point it is unknown. He hasn't even completely wrung it out yet.
It is the same engine that Steve Henry is running. And here he goes.
He's already off the ground.
Yep. All right.
What just happened? That's not even as much wind as there was yesterday. And he's off just about as short. That right main, now if I can give notes.
Ooh,
that right main came off a little bit early before the left one. So he's hanging on a little bit on the left. So whatever he can do, I don't even know. Fix that, Mike. You know, we can be splitting hairs here on that takeoff. Now, it's time for something completely different. Lil Rabbit is here, Jeff Fallon at the controls, and this thing will surprise you.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't think that it's going to perform, and it's going to perform. Here we go. On the takeoff roll, Jeff Fallon. Okay, see?
Yeah, we're down in that sub-100 range. It's two totally different approaches to the same type of problem, right? The STOL problem. How do you get an aircraft off short? Well, you can do it with thrust, right? We say, in thrust, we trust.
Yeah.
You can do it that way, or you can just be like, I'm going to make it little. And that's what you got with Lil Rabbit, and it works. It absolutely works.
Yeah, the Zenith is such an awesome flying machine. I mean, that body is made to fly. It's actually called a flying fuselage. So that weird angle gives him the pitch authority to pull back on the stick and have almost as much angle of attack as a tail dragger aircraft.
Here comes Taranowski now in the FX3. Holding it off. Okay, well done there. Now he's got to get it stopped. He's got that stick full back, trying to keep that tail down while he brakes. And in these tailwheel aircraft, folks, it's a big balancing act, right? You need to use that tail surface. Oh, I don't know if you could have gotten closer to the line by that.
Jeez,
we were working on the replay, folks. If you can't, I bet he was a centimeter. Sorry, that's the wrong unit. It's not freedom units. I bet he was half an inch.
Yeah.
I don't even know if those translate. I'm not going to do the conversion math. Someone do it. Yell at me in the chat for getting it wrong. Half an inch, a centimeter, whatever. It was amazing. Here we go now. Mike Babcock thrusted it into the air with all that power on the takeoff. Let's see what it can do on the landing.
Ooh, and just buttery touch right across the line. Probably gave up 20 feet, maybe.
Yeah, he could do even shorter. That was incredibly impressive. Like maybe 125 was where he stopped. And he has given the camera operators ye old volcanic ash dusting. Lil Rabbit off in the distance now. Franz Monster on the chat saying Lil Rabbit with a little rabbit emoji and a thumbs up emoji. Hashtag loves it over here, Franz Monster. Big thanks to some of our other sponsors here. Of course, we got to thank Confluence Health for locally helping us get to Moses Lake, Washington, but also Lift Aviation USA and Clemens Insurance. Oh, hold it off there. Hold it off.
Oh, no.
He was willing to commit to just dragging the tail through the dirt, but it just did not have enough power to keep him off the ground. Let's watch there. Huge deck angle there. Tail touches down, then the wheels touch down maybe half a plane length before the line.
Yeah, I wonder what Sheldon Hetherington of Redbird STOL is thinking right now.
While they taxi back, I also want to thank our friends over at Sarasota Avionics who give Garmin prizes for all the annual championships this year. So big thanks to them. Again, Lift Aviation USA, helmets, shoulder harnesses, safety so important here in National STOL. Want to make sure that everyone is safe. Keep their noggins and their bodies safe in those cockpits. Clemens Insurance keeping us all good to go from an underwriting and an insurance perspective. And Sarasota Avionics, of course, for those Garmin prizes. They're taxiing back right now. The other thing you're going to notice is these tailwheel aircraft, they're really putting in work on those tail wheels.
Yeah.
Cam.
Yeah.
Tundra tail wheel. New supporter of the series. Get a really sweet tail wheel from them, and Behringer brakes. And I think we maybe even have Behringer wheels.
Yep.
On this
Thomas.
Cub. Yeah, on Thomas's aircraft here, the bright red Behringer brakes, they match that paint job.
Oh yeah, they're
nice.
very beautiful. And here we go on the takeoff roll. Thomas is going to pull back the stick, deploy the flaps.
Okay, that's a Cub doing Cub things.
Yeah, he's absolutely doing Cub things in the FX3. Mike Babcock pulling up to the line in that electric blue Badlands Traveler powered by a Yamaha 998T snowmobile engine.
Listen to the turbo spool up. Here he goes. Oh, he's just getting up to the line. I was already getting excited. I was like, here it's going to happen. But no, he's got to get up to the line. Flaps down. He's like, let's go. Full lifties.
All right, here we go. Yeah.
And I just want to point out is Kyle Fowler was in here, and then he signed off, and he's like, I got to go. I got to go home. But he could not resist the call of the National STOL and of Mike Babcock's Badlands Traveler. What do you think? Was it thumbs up, thumbs down? He liked it.
Double
yeah, of
thumbs
course
up.
you liked it. You like loud things, I know. Got some other air show performers up front here. We got a kind of a who's who of the air show right in front of us here. Now it's time for the Zenith. Lil Rabbit, piloted by Jeff Fallon. Okay, just hopping off.
Hopping off
into the sky.
Yep, you were saying we got the air bosses from the air show. We got Yellow Thunder in front of us as well. Everyone's enjoying the air show. So I got to hang out with Steve Henry last week before I brought the trailer, and he was telling me all the things. He was actually putting together a 998T, the Yamaha engine that he is very famous for. And he was just saying that there's not a lot of mods that go into that engine. They get those engines and they do a handful of things to them, and then it's ready to fly.
That's incredible. And I never would have gotten on a snowmobile and been like, this should go on my airplane.
Right?
This thing really rips. Let's go. Okay, here comes Taranowski now in the Cub. Best scores so far, 302. Last takeoff was a little bit shorter, 124. Here he is. Gives up about 2 plane lengths over the line. Keeping that tail down real nice, though. No problems there.
Yeah. Something else Steve had told me while I was visiting him is that, and I want to clear this up because everybody thinks that that aircraft is purpose-made just for STOL and STOL drag, and he corrected me. He said that, I don't know why people keep saying that it's purpose-made just for this. I can fly anywhere I want, but it gets expensive because he's running high-octane fuel. And,
yeah, something like $30 a gallon race fuel or something.
Yeah. Is no joke. Mike Babcock on short final. You can see him utilizing that rudder. That's what he's needing right now. Oh!
Sporty landing with Mike Babcock there. And that's going to hurt not from maybe a little bit his ego, but that was a 28-foot takeoff that we saw for Mike Babcock. And he went full bore on that throttle to try to save the landing, and it did not look pretty. Working those gear, had it fall out for him in there. You heard the engine spool up, but even that amount of power, that unknown amount of horsepower, was not enough to keep him from scratching. And like I said, 28-foot takeoff down the drain thanks to that scratch by Mike Babcock. Now, Jeff Fallon holding it off high alpha, popping it in, Lil Rabbit style. Nice. Nicely done in the sport class. He had an 85-foot takeoff. What is he going to pair it with now on the landing? 93-foot landing. So we're sub 100 feet. Think about that, folks. Think about how far 100 feet is. It's not that far. And you've got airplanes taking off and landing sub 100 feet for a combined total for Jeff Fallon of 178. Mike Babcock still in the lead in his Badlands travel with a combined score of 179. Thomas Tarnowski in the adventure class with a combined score of 302. That was his first run. Looking at the flags, it looks like we have
some good wind.
Some wind.
Yeah.
It's not nothing.
I really think that what happened with Mike is that the wind just kind of dropped out from him. I'd love to look at the flags on that last run, but I think that the wind kind of dropped out because they were pretty stiff, like on his takeoff. So, and here we go. Actually, we've got the replay of it. Let's see if we can see the flags there. Yeah, not in view, but you can see that the wind. I mean, there's only one result of that wing dropping out like that, and that's the wind and him not having enough lift.
He's not having enough airspeed there for the conditions, right?
Right.
In the end, and also, you know, if you're hanging out behind the power curve, you got to have that thrust.
Yep.
Thomas Tarnowski on the roll in the Cub. Nice, graceful takeoff for Thomas Tarnowski. Their judge is running to about where it was. They're going to verify. Mike Babcock now. If you're Mike Babcock, are you a little rattled?
That was quick. I mean, things happen quick in slow airplanes, unfortunately. But he was masterful in his recovery of that. So we're going to see what happens now. As he pulls up to the line, he's going to give it the beans. And you can hear him pull back. He doesn't need full throttle to keep going. He's already up in the air. He's doing what he needs to do. I did not catch his takeoff point, so we'll see what that is here momentarily.
I don't know if it was going to be as short as the 28-footer he just had.
I feel like it's going to be his longest.
Yeah, not a lot of wind on the flags now. The wind did die back down. We want it to spool up before unlimited class. Here we go. Jeff Fallon in Lil Rabbit. Boop. That's the noise it makes.
Boop.
Boop. Just booping. Just booping into the air. No big deal. Just hopping. So that's Jeff Fallon. That's why the sport class, if you ask me this season, you go around, I love every class for different reasons, right? I love the touring class, right? Andrew Patry putting in work in that big, heavy airplane today.
Yeah.
I love the sport class because it's the opposite, right? It's just these tiny little airplanes, and they get more and more insane with the amount of horsepower that gets thrown on the front of him. Eddie Sanchez, one to watch this year on the circuit,
in
his airplane called Devil Girl. It's got this crazy horsepower on the front. Here's Thomas Tarnowski coming in.
Dropping it in, giving up probably 25 feet or so.
Keeping it nice and straight, sliding to a stop there. That was his longest takeoff, though, so his first run will continue to be his best, I'm guessing. He did get more consistent, though, throughout the day.
Yeah.
Mike Babcock's going to be next on final approach. 52-foot takeoff, not anywhere near that 28-foot one. I mean, okay, it was near it, but when we're talking about 28 versus 52, brother, you're in a different place.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can start to put the magnifying glass on you a little bit more when you're getting that short on those takeoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
So 52 feet. His longest was 53. So we're hanging out in that mythical National STOL meme of shorter than an F-14 Tomcat is long. Here he comes now. Hopefully a little more stable this time.
Oh,
burst of throttle,
man.
gonna plop it in again. He is throwing caution to the wind on those. Yeeting it, as the kids would say. Just yeeting it over the line.
You can see him in the cockpit. He's throwing up his hands. He's not happy with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, maybe a little frustrated. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
But it's also like a new airplane. You got to get it figured out. I want to give him some credit, right? You gotta dial it in. The Badlands Traveler, this aircraft at Moses Lake, Washington last year. We were sitting right here. It was the shot heard round the STOL world with what those aircraft can do. There's many of them on the circuit now, and they're all putting in work unseating the more classic designs. Okay, Jeff Vallon, what's the reverse? Oh, too short. I was about to make another boop joke, but the toots of disappointment, as we've said earlier this broadcast, for Jeff Vallon on that one. But that is A-OK for him. His best score, Cam. Let's go back to this replay of Mike Babcock working that gear. I mean, those shocks are huge.
Yeah.
Those shocks are huge. He was working them hugely. He's got the biggest shocks, the best shocks.
Yeah.
They're huge.
Biggest, huge. As well as those tires, they are not small by any means.
Let's go over to the final results of the adventure class.
And first place, Mike Babcock with a combined total of 179, and Thomas Taranowski with a combined total of 302 in second place for the adventure class. And in the sport class, of course, we only have one competitor, Jeff Vallon. He is the winner at 178 feet combined.
So that's going to round out the adventure and sport class, but there's still even more action to come here in Moses Lake, Washington. We're at Moses Lake Airshow for Moses Lake STOL here at Grant County International Airport. And it's time to kick it over to the unlimited class where things get, we call it the anything goes class. And someone was like, that's not totally true, but shorthand.
It's totally true.
Run what you brung, wrench on it, change it, nitrous, let's go, experimental aviation. So we'll be back with just a little more right after this.
We've had it in all of our airplanes. Ever since we started with the Piper Saratoga in the early 2000s. We did the pulse oximeter and CO detector in there. We've upgraded to there. Now we have a Cessna 340 that I actually was talking to him in Germany last year, and he was like, oh, you got to put the cabin altitude thing in the plane. I said, well, send it to me. So we put it in there, and it actually is really nice. This aircraft flies above 18,000, 10,000 feet, so up to 23,000 feet. The other day, the cabin altitude light comes on the manufacturer's panel, and boom, the CO Guardian comes on and says, all right, you're above 10,000, your cabin altitude is above 10,000 feet. So watch out. So it's kind of nice to have that redundancy in the plane. So for a pressurized aircraft, that is so important for me. I get that oxygen mask ready, make sure my oxygen is good.
One of my goals is to try to just best yourself. So I set the world record shortest landing in Valdez in 2018. I'm still flying the same plane. I haven't bested it yet. I've come close, but you just have to have the right conditions. I'm hoping to set the bar higher. I mean, but it's been set so high already. Frank Knapp's got the combination, and in it, I watched him do it in 2017 at Valdez. That was so cool to see, and it still stands, and it stands for a reason because he's an awesome pilot, had the right conditions, and just everything has to come together. It's not just one thing. He pushes me and I push him, and same with Hal. We're challenging each other. Everyone's like, whoa, this is gonna be close.
I have beat him, but not often. I gotta be really on my game and he's gotta be off his a little bit.
The hard work happens with the majority of what Steve does before we get here. It's the innovations, the development of the new parts, testing them, all that. And a lot of that has to do with what Steve does before we get here.
Really excited. I just hung my weights and got everything ready for traditional STOL, and I'm just excited to get going.
I usually fly a Highlander, but I sold it. I'm rebuilding a new one that's going to be pretty competitive at both National STOL and STOL Drag, so I'm excited about that, but it ain't ready yet.
I fly my Rands off a grass strip in airport about 15 minutes from my house. Rick and Colin Kadiva, both really good friends of mine. Colin has a place with a strip behind his house. I've flown in and out of there.
Patrick and I, we got a little bit of a grudge match going.
Come on, get it stopped, Charles! Get it stopped, Charles! No!
Had to let it all hang out.
Oh, man,
one way or another, we're going to stop it, even if it's sideways.
It's so fun. I got to fly the unlimited. You can't beat it.
So that is the unlimited class for National STOL. You're going to see two of the greats in STOL, two legends of STOL. First, race number 3, Hal Stockman in a 2025 Badlands Vaquero, also known as the most famous man not on the internet that's not on the internet. And then next up, Dan Reynolds. You just heard him saying he was hoping for a world record this weekend. He's in that 1983 Valdez Special Chinook, and there it is. It's a bit of a weird bird. I think if you were on Reddit, like the kids like to go on Reddit these days, it would be on the Weird Wings subreddit. It's a weird-looking bird. Maybe Kyle will like this one a lot because he's got a weird bird. They can go sit next to each other right there. This thing, look at this thing.
Be a couple of weirdos.
A couple of weirdos. From Yukon, Canada, it's race number 9. It's a 1983 Chinook Valdez Special. Give it up for Dan Reynolds.
Dan is a lifelong bush pilot with experience flying Super Cubs and Cessna 185s. He flies a highly modified 1983 Chinook WT-11.
He's got 6,000 hours flying just that type of airplane, so he knows how to work it. And then emerging from the dust. Actually, here's another one that Kyle Fowler's going to like. I'm just picking on him because he's in front of us. This one's got a canard. Check it out. From Elko, Nevada, race number 3. It's a 2024 Badlands Vaquero. Give it up for Hal Stockman.
This is a rebuild of Lawnmower 4, Lawnmower 4.1. The tail is from the original and was recovered, and he added a canard to the front to offset the CG, the center of gravity of the aircraft.
Yeah, that canard improves tail effectiveness and takes more weight off of the wing. So he literally has like 2 lifting bodies on the airplane on the front, and then the tail, of course, is actually pushing down, counteracting it in that traditional configuration. So it's time for the unlimited class. This is where you see the really low numbers. If I'm Dan Reynolds, I'm wishing there was a little more wind. He had good wind yesterday.
Yeah.
But it was just close but no cigar for Dan Reynolds yesterday. I talked to him a little bit before the air show today, and he said, I've been thinking about this world record too much. I've been working on it too much. I got to get it out of my head. I just got to go in and do what I do best, which is just fly.
Yeah.
And then the results will happen. And I thought that was really interesting, like mature thought from a very competitive person, right? He's like, okay, like I just got to like clear my head, and it'll happen when it happens because I know I can do it.
Boom.
Love it. Okay, so Hal Stockman now in the line in that Badlands Vaquero with the canard on the front. Full throttle, yanking her off. Yep, we're sub 75 feet already, folks. Hal Stockman, good and climbing.
I noticed while he was taxiing by that he might have his cargo door off as well. It was a black trapezoid shape on the side of his aircraft.
Dan Reynolds looking in charge. That guy looks really good in aviators with that mustache. I'm just going to say it. Okay, here he goes. Spooling her up. The Chinook. There we go. Definitely sub 50, maybe even shorter.
Yeah, just a little bit over 25 feet. We're looking at, the judges look like they're looking at 35 maybe. 32. And you might be able to see that black trapezoid shape on Hal's aircraft while he's turning to right base out in front of us.
That was a 51-foot takeoff for Hal Stockman as he's turning in on final, and a 33, count them, 33-foot takeoff for Dan Reynolds in the Chinook.
There's no reason why we should be watching airplanes or airplane-like things take off at 33 feet, 51 feet.
No, it's bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers. Here we go, holding it off. Ooh. I think that was good for Hal Stockman.
Line judge saying that it is a scratch. Let's see what.
Now they're saying under review. Let's go back to the replay. We're watching the replay. The mains did touch down about 2 tire widths before the line, so that will be a scratch for Hal Stockman on that. Dan Reynolds now to your right, doing his best helicopter impression in the Chinook. Look at this thing just lumbering in. Eddie Sanchez in the chat, one of our sport competitors, just landed from Germany, wishing I was there, but watching in the car driving home. I hope someone else is driving the car, Eddie. That is not safe. Okay, we've got plenty of time to talk. Got Dan Reynolds just hovering her in now on short final, dialing it in, working that throttle, that Rotax engine, dialing it in, working those slats.
Ooh.
Touch it down. Stop. Nice one, Dan Reynolds. That is what you came to see here in the Unlimited class. That's defied reason. That's why they call him Lawn Dart Dan. He is not messing around with that landing. Going back to the replay. Yes. And that has to be called good. He landed that 3 inches beyond the line, and look at the control that he has on those brakes, getting it exactly stopped. Oh, Dan Reynolds, what a showman.
Hal Stockman on the line, waiting for the good to go. Gonna bring that tail up, not even 50 feet.
Not even 50 feet. Okay, so Hal Stockman with a scratch, but are you ready for the what number?
What?
Dan Reynolds down and stopped with 64 feet combined.
Oh,
and look at the flags. We have almost no wind at the surface. I think there's healthy winds aloft based on what we saw in his approach. But we have almost no wind compared to yesterday on the surface, and he is putting down insane numbers. Hal Stockman's last takeoff, by the way, 45 feet. Dan Reynolds in the Chinook. Looking at sub 50 feet again for Dan Reynolds. You can hear that engine spool up a little bit extra when it kicks over into the nitrous mode, let's call it. I want to point out we had someone in the chat, by the way. And if you're here in Moses Lake, we'd love to hear from you. You can go to the YouTube and hop in on the chat. You can also see the broadcast we're talking about. McJam's in the chat saying, my brain can't compute this. Amazing. Also, breathe. I'm holding my breath. Yes, McJams. That is 100% what is happening right now in the Unlimited class. Hal Stockman turning base to final now, off in the distance here in Moses Lake, and both of them are just hoping for a little more wind on the nose. Dan Reynolds' takeoff number in now at 42 feet. So think about that. Hal Stockman and Dan Reynolds with very similar takeoff numbers. Here's Hal now on approach.
You can hear him relaxing on the throttle, just plopping it in. It wasn't a chop, plop, and drop it, but it was a relax, plop and drop.
So Hal Stockman giving up about a plane length before he touched down there. Big Log Dog here in person. This is incredible. Thank you, Big Log Dog. I also like your name. It's kind of funny. Big Log Dog. I like that. Just rolls off the tongue. Okay.
Big Log Dog.
Here we go. Dan Reynolds now. Look, folks, high-ish and to your right, just hovering it in. I mean, this airplane it's not just for competition. Dan uses these up in the Yukon. He's throwing chunks of, what's the plural of moose? Is it meese? Mooses? whatever. Chunk. I'm from Wisconsin. Whatever the word is, he's throwing chunks of those things in the back while he's hunting. Here he comes now on the right. Holding it off. No one is breathing. Nicely done and nicely stopped. Dan Reynolds. That is 100% worth the cheers he just got from the crowd here in Moses Lake. A little bit longer combined than his first run. 75 feet combined. We had a C-17 here today. They've already departed, but we had a C-17 here today. Both aircraft you're watching fly right now could take off on one end of a C-17's wing and land before the end of the other C-17 wing.
That's ridiculous.
That's insane.
I wonder if he could land in the length of the T-tail, right? The rudder on top of the T-tail.
Oh, well, that we would have to look up.
Yeah, we're going to have to look that up.
I know a lot about airplanes. I don't know a lot about wildlife, guys. I'm getting some heat. I'm getting some heat from the Yellow Thunder guys. Drew from the Yellow Thunder's throwing some heat at me here at the booth.
Span on T-tail is 65 feet.
So, let's get uber nerdy as Hal Stockman soars off into the wild blue yonder. The span of the T-tail, I'm just going to reframe this to make sure everyone heard it. The span of the T-tail of the C-17 is 65 feet. So, in theory, Dan Reynolds could take off and land in the span of the T-tail of the C-17.
I mean, he did take off and land on his house, didn't he?
He did take off and land on his house. That's the thing he did. Oh, another nice short one from Dan Reynolds. It's funny, after you see it the first time, waving at the crowd there, Dan, loving it. After the first time you see it, he makes it look so easy.
Yeah.
The first time your brain breaks, and then the second and the third time,
it's homeostasis.
You're just in there.
Look
at him. He's already turned crosswind.
Yeah.
He's already turned crosswind. Just getting pushed down by those winds up there. Meanwhile, Hal Stockman to the right, coming in the Vaquero. So he's got 131 feet on the board. Dan Reynolds with 64 feet combined. I still can't get over. That first landing was the most exciting one at 31 feet, but his last landing was 33 feet. Brain breaking.
Hal Stockman getting it slowed down. Giving us plenty of time to breathe over here, talk. See his flaps down right now. Those big barn doors, as Corey Robin would say.
Working all the bits of that wing, that canard as well. Oh, right on the line, we think. Look at how short Hal Stockman just stopped it.
Oh, let's see. It's called a scratch, but let's review.
Malarkey.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a scratch. So, touchdown about a wheel diameter in front of the line there. Hal Stockman again, or sorry, not Hal Stockman, Dan Reynolds to your right, hovering it in. There are some great people I got to say hi to in the chat here, in the social chat. Sean in the chat saying, hi, I'm here in person. Hello, Sean. How's it going?
What's up, Sean? Oh, in front of us, Sean.
Right there in front of us. There we go. DKG Productions here in person also. Hoping to use some of these videos I get today in some new edits. Awesome. Enjoy that. Glad we could put on a show for you. Toyo Boy. I love the way that's spelled. I'm maniacally laughing at how slow Dan is floating. And check it out. He is doing that right now. Look at all the dust coming past him. Got to add some throttle a little bit to keep it through that.
Yeah, got to play with the rudder as well because the ailerons are mushy at the moment. Ooh. Oh.
No!
Oh, was that a scratch? Was
Did he touch the line? That was insane. They're calling it a scratch, though, and my heart is breaking. That was awesome. Going back to the replay, and he did touch down just before it. Oh, Dan, that was something else. That is your unlimited class, folks, here at Moses Lake STOL. If you're joining us here in person, it has been an absolute pleasure to bring this whole day of aviation to you. If you're joining us online, thank you so much for chatting in the chat. We got all of these great people helping us out here. It has been something else. Let's go to the scores for the unlimited class.
In first place, Mr. Dan Reynolds with a combined total of 64 feet, shorter than the T-tail of a C-17. And in second place, Mr. Hal Stockman with the score of 131 combined total. I mean,
wow. Brain breaking.
And that's shorter than the width of
absolutely
a C-17.
insane today. Cam, thank you so much for being with me on the mic today here for National STOL. And you and I got to share the mic for the air show. What an incredible day.
It was a pleasure to do it with you, sir.
Thank you so much to all the volunteers that have come together to put on this show for you here in Moses Lake. Thank you to all the sponsors that make this air show possible. Definitely come check us out National STOL-wise, Hartford, Wisconsin, just before the big air show in Oshkosh, Wisconsin in just a few weeks. We'd love to see you there. It's going to be a great show. Thank you so much, everybody. Cam, let's do it.
Heck yeah.
See you guys later. Stay safe, fly safe. Have a good one.